Welcome to Poets Pitch, where poets can pitch their piece and guarantee we'll catch what they're pitching. Here is where we break down the complexities and dive deeper into the poetry. Pitches can reach new heights.
Okay, cool. You know what? That confused me. We might have just been sitting here silent for a minute, but this is my first time ever using this and not being on mute. Normally I look for that silence to go down. Okay, so welcome back to our returning people. I'm so grateful to see y'all coming in. Thank you so much for coming to see our show again. This is episode 4. This is Poets Pitch the Show. We go live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Yes, thank you for the love. We have a podcast. It is on Spotify, Apple, and Google. So check that out for people who want to hear these dope poets again, or maybe you're on the go and you don't have time for the show. Do that. So today we have the beautiful, the talented. She may be giving you a bouquet right now, but she's one single rose. How are you?
I am amazing. Thank you so much for having me on your platform. I appreciate the love.
I'm so happy for you to be here. You don't even know, y'all. We're about to get into something really good. I've already checked out her submission, and it's so right on time, which I was telling you earlier. I didn't want to get into it because, we about to get into it.
Yes.
So we're going to go right into first base. Yes. So if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to submit those and we will respond. I'll start it off. Yes. Hi. Hey, guys. Okay, so I'll start it off. So I've heard your poetry one time prior to this show. And I know, obviously, we just met today.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, you as well.
But after listening to you on one show, and then seeing your submissions, I can see that you have a lot of personality. You're a whole character. So can you tell us, what is your character? What contributes to your character?
Real life. I write about things that I've experienced, things I hear in the news, things my colleagues and my friends go through. There's a lot going on in the world that fuels a lot of the energy that I put behind my work, and real life makes way for great art.
Yes. How would you describe your personality?
That's a loaded question.
I'm sure, but you're giving us the whole bouquet.
Yes. Well, I approach everything with love, and I give what it is I hope to receive. But I'm also not opposed to being very frank and upfront.
Stepping on the side of your
Exactly. I mean, I'm going to feed off the energy that you give me. If your energy is raw, then I'm going to give you raw energy back. If your energy is stank, then you're going to get the stank energy back. If your energy is good, then you're going to get
Let me not get stank. I don't want no stank.
Right. But that just comes with dealing with different people as you travel around and you're out in the world. You expect everyone to approach things with love, but not everyone does that.
That part.
So you just really have to be well-rounded and take it as it comes and keep moving.
Yes. Okay, we got. Is that a question?
Did you first fall in love with? When did you first fall in love with poetry? Oh, Provante man. Is that the name? Prevento man? Prevente man?
Oh, I needed this laugh.
Am I pronouncing that correctly? My glasses might not be.
Is that Prevente?
Prevente man?
I thought it was going to be Prevention Man, but
Prevention man, okay. Prevention man. I first fell in love with poetry in the 2nd grade. I wrote my very first poem. Half of it was me and the other half was plagiarized, but I didn't know anything about plagiarism in the 2nd grade. So I've always had a love for the word, a love for writing, a love for books. My first piece of mail was a Highlights magazine, and I've always just basically loved to manipulate words, and that got me in trouble as a child.
How so?
Well, I wrote a letter to my 4th grade teacher because she was, I wrote a poem about it too, it called Red, because I saw Red when she approached me about Well, she told me that I was bad as I was, which I wasn't a bad child, but because I wasn't in church or I didn't get baptized yet.
Mm-hmm.
And she went to my church. So I wrote her a letter about what I thought about her opinions. And she shared it with my mom one day at church, and I got the very worst whipping I ever received. But what was interesting, they were more concerned about the words that I used and how many syllables I put into it, and how I just basically read her down the whole page.
Ooh, how old were you?
I was at 9 years old in the 4th grade.
Child.
I read her down the whole page with extensive vocabulary that they weren't expecting to hear from a 9-year-old.
Oh, Lord.
So that's when I fell in love with poetry and the word. Yeah, very outspoken. I don't like to be taken advantage of, and I felt that she was really overstepping her boundaries, telling me about my religion, telling a 9-year-old about religion. At the time, I didn't really appreciate it. And she understood later.
Okay.
After she read it.
She didn't expect you to have as much of an opinion as you did either.
No,
her approach, I mean,
not.
her intentions might have been good, but her approach was all wrong, right?
Absolutely. Telling a child that they're bad and the devil is not, that doesn't instill any type of hope in them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, yeah.
So I get that you're outspoken and you've been outspoken for some time. But were you performing poetry from the beginning when you first started writing, or is that something you had to slowly get into? I know we were talking a bit before the show.
I slowly got into performing poetry. I wrote my first book in 2009. And as I would try to sell books, people were like, let me hear a poem. And I'm like, no, here's the book, read it. You know, I put all the words on this nicely written out, and they're placed on the page. So read it, and you need poetry.
Yeah.
But people wanted to hear more spoken word. So that actually pushed me into being a spoken word artist. And as soon as I relinquished my life into learning pieces and taking on the task of becoming a spoken word artist, the world opened, and I've just been going ever since.
But even when you started, like, do you feel like there was a period where you were only reciting it, or were you all, like, when you started going up there, were you always kind of giving it, like, you know, emotion and attitude and performing it from the beginning?
From the beginning. My very first spoken word performance, I had my my goddaughters on stage with me, dancing out the words to the piece, because I thought that, well, if they're dancing with me, that's going to take some of the focus off me. They're going to be looking at them and not focusing on me up here sweating like a bullet, trying to deliver this 1 minute and 30-second piece. But that really just fueled my fire, just from being on the stage at that time. And it's taken me on some amazing journeys all over the world.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Where to?
Africa, Europe, the Caribbean, Mexico, Canada, most of the United States. So I'm just following the word as it leads.
Period. I love it. Following the word. Yes. I love that. Please submit more questions and comments, even though I have a good amount, but you know, we want to get your questions to make sure we're paying y'all some attention. So do you like to cook?
I don't like to cook, but
really?
I will cook. Yeah, when I'm hungry, I want food ready. I don't have time to be fixing nothing. Then you get hangry, waiting on the food to get ready. So
I'm cracking up. I feel like sometimes, like, as poets, we embody our poetry. Like, so I guess I was like, she must like to cook, because I feel like your poetry is like a platter. I feel like you serve a lot with your poetry. So it's not like you like, oh, here's some chicken nuggets and fries, or here's a snack. Like, you be like, here's a whole platter. You're gonna get full off of your poetry. Like, nobody's gonna leave hungry. So I was like, I wonder if she like to cook. Is is there a correlation between like cooking and her poetry?
Yeah, absolutely. You're making a recipe. The ingredients that you put into the poem, you're telling a story. From the beginning, where you draw the audience in, the middle is the meat, like making a sandwich. You put the first piece of bread on there, you slop that mayo on there, and then the middle of it is the meat.
Mayo.
Exactly. The middle of it is the meat, where you draw everyone in, and the end is that last piece of bread that brings it all together.
Yes. What makes you passionate about your poetry?
Being a voice for the voiceless. Because there's some things that need to be said that others don't have the courage, or they haven't found their voice yet to say these words. So I'm just a vessel, and whatever I'm blessed with It's not for me, it's for the world. So I get it and I deliver it on back out.
You my sister. I've adopted you.
Okay.
Like,
All right, sis.
That's what you gotta know. We have a question.
Okay.
What is your favorite subject to write about, Rose?
I love to write motivation and inspiration. A lot of things that we hold ourselves, well, a lot of people don't have high self-esteem. They don't love themselves. They don't think of themselves as beautiful or worthy or the word is escaping me. But yeah, motivation. I like to motivate our people because, if you don't love yourself, how can you expect anybody else will? If you aren't motivated to do something, how can you expect anybody else to gravitate to you? If you're selling a service or if you're an artist, how can you expect anybody to pay attention to you if you don't have that high self-esteem, if you aren't commanding the room or the stage? We all have something about us that we don't like, but society will tell you that it's a flaw when you're perfectly imperfect. So you just roll with it. I just roll with it, flaws and all. Yeah. So I told somebody the other day, y'all gonna get these rolls and these toes all summer long.
I feel like the moment I get more comfortable with my flaws is the day like you can't tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, because really we're always in our own heads.
Absolutely.
And we're thinking we know what the next person is thinking because we're looking at ourselves like this, like, and everybody else is not even looking like that.
Exactly.
I think it comes from like me having a background of being constantly judged over like small things. So I'm thinking like, oh, people are looking, and then somebody will tell me like, nobody's looking at that. Nobody even want to notice that. Nobody even cares about that. Like,
Right. But why does somebody else's opinion matter so much to you?
Yeah.
If you come
or even like what just popped in my head is like, if you are serving something, like you said, when you did your poem, you're thinking like, oh, they're dancing, so that's going to take away from some of the attention. So whatever you're giving more of, that's really where the attention is going to be drawn to. So even if there is a little flaw over there or a little something over there, like demand attention to what you want them to be, attentive to. Exactly. There we go.
Yes.
Serve what you want attention to. So we have another question. Have you found different responses to your poetry in various countries and cultures? That is a beautiful and really good question.
Yes. It's just all been love. I have not gotten any negative feedback because, as I said, I approach everything that I do with love. And even in different cultures, when I mentored with students in Africa, when I did poetry in Europe in front of basically all white audiences, when I mentored with students in St. Lucia, it was just all love. They were like huge sponges that's just waiting to receive what it was that I had to offer. And also hearing their pieces and the different, the dialect and the different cadences. I learned a lot from different cultures. And it's just an amazing thing to follow the word and see how it goes, no matter where it is that you land. It's all a positive word for the love of the word. So we just deliver it a little bit differently. It just depends on where you are.
Really good question, Ariel. My question is, do you feel what inspires you to write today is the same inspiration you had when you first started writing? Like in your earlier days? Like is the inspiration still the same, or do you feel like you have a different reason for writing today?
Yeah, I definitely have a different reason for writing. When I started writing my first book, it was basically as a woman scorned. I was coming out of a relationship and all of my poems were die, 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 kill the world, I hate you, I hate me. So I started to write more inspirational pieces, and before I knew it, instead of me slumping down, my head was held high, my shoulders were back, and I was just feeling that much better. So that actually...
I feel like a ray of sunshine just bounced off.
Yes. So that helped me to want to inspire others, because before I knew it, I had I started to shop my pieces in churches, and people would come up to me, oh, I really needed this piece, or thank you so much for writing this piece. And I'm like, oh, okay, I might be on to something. So I started writing more in that vein, and before I knew it, my heartache was gone because I wrote it out. And I use poetry as a get out of jail free card. Instead of reacting with this, I react with that.
Yes, ma'am. Even though I still got you a whooping one time.
Excuse me.
No, you're fine. If we were to take a look at your poetry archives, what will we find? I feel like you kind of painted this picture for us, but we still never know. So I still want to ask, like, what do you write more about? What are some topics you speak more about? What are you achieving when you begin to write, besides outside of what you've already said about, showing love and being inspirational?
Yeah, my first book, it was so trash. It was
Don't
horrible.
say that.
I mean, to me, it was a collection of lyrical rhyme where I was basically writing songs to push myself past the pain. And now it's more of a voice for those who don't want to speak out. So I'm penning more for causes, for people, just becoming that voice for people who haven't found theirs yet.
Yes. It's so interesting how it really just shows how compassionate you are, how what's the word I'm looking for? Empathetic you are, because it's to me it's interesting how the voiceless becomes the voice for others.
Mm-hmm.
People who already have a voice can speak up for people, but a lot of times they don't.
Yes.
But it tends to be the people who once were voiceless, because I know. And that's how, like, literally, when I say we sisters right now, we sisters, because, like, I literally write with the same, like, I want to motivate somebody else. Like, I went through this, but when you look at my poetry to tell a story, it'll tell you, like, what I went through, but reading it or hearing it, you're like, I don't feel like I have to cry with her. Like, I feel motivated that,
Yes.
I can take on the world right now.
Yes.
And that's what I want.
Exactly. That's how people should feel if you're writing along that vein. They should feel empowered. They should feel good about themselves. Just depends on where your pen takes you.
Yes. So, guys, we're going to jump right into the pitch, because I know y'all ready to hear it. It's time for the poem. So, listen up. What poem are you sharing with us today?
Today I will be sharing a piece called The First Time.
Yes, ma'am. Let's get into it.
I held myself captive for years. Trapped within darkness, this little light of mine didn't shine. My voice hushed within personal insecurities passed down by society. Daddy Longlegs blessed me with a stature considered intimidating. Thicknesses of these lips and hips I frequently frowned upon. Consistently defending the beautiful brown I was born with, cognac hues fashioned as a safeguard remain on the front line for those who take offense. Above average intellect, terrified below average wit. Dumb and Dumber knocked my block off for the last time, then I realized I've got to get comfortable living in the skin I'm in. I can only be me. I had to step outside the box to live in color. Proud and out loud, no longer slave to shade thrown by societal suggestions. No more wallowing in silence. My pen became my siren and sword. I pushed poems like weight. Writing past pain on paper which covered my will, which was hard as rock. Cut through all the mess with scissors before rock cried out, "It's time to escape." He's using the prison break left indentations on my hands before being released from his death grip. The lone abductor, the alleys of my mind. Blinded by a so-called flawless culture, I met myself for the very first time. The first time ever I saw my face. There I was, tall, dark, and handsome, smart, thicker than a snicker. Finally, I fell in love with me. Physical attributes may permit sending gazes towards those threatened by altitude. I vow to encourage my people because the only time you should look down on a man is when you're picking him up. Overweight lovers are frequently shunned by jealous flatbacks who pay for butt shots and lip lifts. I don't think they're ready for this jelly. But it's party time in celebration of life, so let's jam. This skin color is a blessing, deceptively labeled curse. Tides will one day return to an era when we were Adam and Eve, kings and queens, rulers of peaceful civilizations. Knick-knack, paddywhack, give us back our bones. Let haters hate while naysayers negate. You control your fate. Thank your old self for bringing you through. Be content with who you are. Strive for better to ensure you'll become someone you can tolerate the rest of your days. Open your eyes. Look in the mirror. Love on your reflection. If you can't do that, do you expect anyone else will? If you've never appreciated you, the next time you actually see yourself, I hope it will be the first time ever you saw your face. One single rose, no stem.
Okay, hold on, let me give her an applause. Yes, I love it. Oh my God, that was such a good poem.
Thank you.
We're gonna jump into the dugout, which means we are about to dig into this poem.
Okay.
These lines. If y'all missed something, we're gonna bring it back. Okay. All right. So first of all, really, really, really love this poem. I feel like I'm looking at the poem. Like I'm literally looking at it. So it's so good. It's like so many gems in here. For me, I really felt like this poem was right on time. As I was telling you prior to the show, I really feel the words of this poem, especially the first few lines, which we're going to jump into in a second. Girl, you better tell us something.
Thank you.
Earlier, I made a joke about you being like a bouquet, even though your name is like one single rose, because I feel like you've given us a lot. You serving us a whole lot, and I feel like even with the bouquet, you got these different flowers, giving off these different qualities, and I feel like that's what you do with this poem.
Thank you.
Of course, girl, I ain't tell no lie. And then I feel like also, and what I mean by that is that with this poem, I feel like we get the actress. We get the singer, we get the songwriter, like it's all there. Like you literally give it, you're not just giving us just one single rose. You're just like, here's some more roses for you. So I just had to make sure I said that because I feel like this is one of those poems, like I feel like I see you after hearing that poem. I feel like you've given us a lot of you in this poem. Mm-hmm. So I just had to.
Yeah, I'm all up through there.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So love on your reflection. Okay. Yes. Y'all better show this love.
Yes. Thank you, Marissa. Hand claps and toe taps.
Yes. See. Yes. Okay. So let's dive into it. First of all, the first line. Well, okay, so the first time I held myself captive for years, trapped within darkness. You said, this little light of mine didn't shine. Mm-hmm. That line right there, I was like, you caught me. Like, off of submission, like, obviously, everybody sends more than one poem, but that line right there, I was like, nope, we're doing this one. I didn't even have to finish the poem. That line alone, I'm like, no, this is coming onto the show. Mm-hmm. I felt that. Yeah. So I feel like we're all lights in our own right, Some might need to be turned up a notch, mm-hmm. but we all are a light. But I feel like sometimes early on, we forget or we don't realize the light we are.
Exactly.
And we allow life to dim us, and we like become the very thing that people say we are, mm-hmm. instead of just being us.
Exactly. What society tells you are, then people fall right into those stereotypes instead of staying true to themselves, trying to fit in. Square pegs don't fit into circular holes.
You gotta tell us something. I gotta know. So when did you write this poem? I feel like with a poem like this, timing is very important with this type of poem. How long ago did you write this? Where were you at when you wrote this poem?
I penned that piece in 2014. And at that time, I was struggling with whether to create my own play and production. And I was really doubting myself. And I don't know, somehow this popped into my head. And I actually started to really love on me. I mean, I've always loved who I am, but at that point I was like, you know what? Go ahead and do you. And I did me, and we sold out. And it was it was just amazing. So I'm always obedient to the pen. That first man told me to do it, and that's what I did. So
I love it. I love it. We do have some questions. Someone said, what motivated you to write this piece? So, no, this my sis, not your sis, my sis.
just becoming comfortable in my skin. There's so many people out here who aren't comfortable with themselves. They're so busy trying to fit in with others that they don't know that people should be trying to fit in with them. We're always so busy trying to please other people when we should be pleasing ourselves, making sure that we're good at all times. Because if we don't take care of our mental health, we're going to fall victim to everybody else. So we have to stand strong in our beliefs and love on ourselves. Because if we don't love ourselves, how can we expect that anyone else will?
Period.
I
just love the energy and the touch of you that you add to everything. It's like, my period is not your period. Okay, so let's see. You said this little light of mine didn't shine.
Excuse me.
You're fine. My voice hushed within personal insecurities passed down by society.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's get into that. Like, where do you feel like society played a role in how you possibly saw yourself, or muted you in any way? Like,
I'm a Black woman.
Okay.
I'm 5'10".
Okay.
And I'm a plus size diva. So
you don't give me plus size. You give me curvy.
Yeah, curvy with a couple of extra this and that.
I love it.
So as such, as a Black woman, we get the glass ceiling. Opportunities aren't afforded to us. As a tall woman, as soon as I walk in the room, all eyes are on me because I'm tall and I'm thick. And as a plus size woman, people think that most plus size women are just supposed to be frumpy and they aren't together. But I've always prided myself on whenever I step out the house, I'm looking like I'm going to do business or something. Mm-hmm. Everything is together. Even if I'm running to the store for a hot second, hair comes down, shoes go on.
You might run into your husband.
Exactly. You never know. You never know. So I just put my best foot forward at whatever time. So to dispel those myths and those stereotypes, I just put that to the back and let that negative energy push me forward.
Period.
Because somebody always has something to say. Oh, you plus size, you shouldn't wear that. Oh, you should have your top up a little bit over your boobs. Why you wearing your hair like that? Oh, you 5'10". Why you still wearing heels? Girl, you need to be wearing flats.
Oh, that one got me. Yeah. I was like, girl, I'm 5'11" and a half. So I know when I was younger, I was like, I'm never wearing heels. That's for people who are, thinking that some things are only for some people.
Exactly.
Girl, when she put me in a heel and I realized I could walk in them things, I said, you're going to catch me in some heels.
Exactly. Y'all going to get these heels.
Okay. You're going to get the pointed toe.
Yes. Oh, you shouldn't talk to him. He's so much shorter than you, but he's a good brother.
No, I ain't gonna lie.
Okay.
I like me a tall man.
Yeah. I mean, that's the prep.
That's just the prep.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it. There's a line where you say, consistently defending the beautiful brown I was born with. Cognac hues fashioned as a safeguard remain on the front line for persons who take offense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a lie.
Yes. For our fair-skinned brothers and sisters who have the privilege, who think that the world should bow down at their feet because they are fair-skinned or they have that privilege. But if I cut that person's hand and you cut my hand, we're both going to bleed the same color. So why should your privilege be different than mine because we have a different color skin? But I mean, that's the world that we live in. That's the United States. That's what it is right now. We see it every day, and we're seeing it on a greater scale now because the fair-skinned brothers and sisters feel threatened because our voices are being heard, and we're getting louder and louder and louder, as we should always be. So we just have to speak up for ourselves and not get taken aback by these stereotypes and what they tell us we should do, because we'll never get anywhere. They always want to hold us down.
This is true. That was deep. You just, by a show of hands, or I don't know how we would go about this, but how many people who are watching feel like the color of your skin has played a role in how, like, maybe your, like, school life went? Like, were you more popular because you were light skinned? Did you feel like outcasted because you were darker?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let me know.
Absolutely.
I want to see.
Yes,
does that relate? It should relate to everybody. But, some people, I saw something the other day and somebody was like, there's no racism in the United States. And I think they were just talking from their experience. But it's okay if your experience is different, but don't, like, just kind of, throw a cover over everybody else. Like, let's not act like that's not an experience for someone else.
Don't discount others' experience because you haven't experienced it yet.
Literally my words verbatim. I said you could just haven't experienced it yet. Yeah.
And I get it a lot from older Caucasian women. They feel threatened by me for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why. Like I said, I approach everything with love. I don't bother nobody, but they always want to come for me. And I had to shut them down on every time.
Sometimes when people see, what I've learned is when somebody sees you, and it's not even as it relates to me, just watch people. I'm a people watcher.
Mm-hmm.
And I notice, like, some people will see someone moving through their life confidently. Mm-hmm. And they're shooketh. They're thinking like they don't appreciate what you have to offer, and they're thinking, how dare you be walking around with your head up?
Exactly.
You're this and you're that. Whatever you think discounts your whatever they feel like discounts your worth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're gonna tear down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They think you should. Oh, I think you're a 5, so you need to act a 5. Mm-hmm. You're a little too cocky for me.
Yeah, exactly. No, no, that's for you. I'm gonna do me for me, not for you.
That part.
Yeah. So
nobody else makes me feel a way about myself.
Exactly. So you're gonna either roll with it or roll out.
That part. Have you done any poetic battles or slam teaming?
I have participated in 2 slams. And both of them I won. I really don't.
She said she's not coming out unless she's leaving with the W.
I do not. Yeah, just the slam, the competition thing is not really. I prefer to be on the more performance end than the slam competition end of my work. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice. Y'all better show this love.
It's giving Kevin Sam. What's giving Kevin Samuels, Marissa? What's you talking about?
When we were saying, like, how people, like, will judge you and say you need to act like, you know what? That is true. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
But yes.
I didn't know anything about him until I saw the mute Kevin Samuels hashtags. And then 2 days later, he passed away. I was like, wow, the universe really spoke.
Not mute him for good.
I had no clue. And then I kind of dug back into some of the episodes. I was like, wow, I see why everybody was so mad.
Okay. She said it's how people judge others. Yes,
okay.
Yes. Yeah. We get it, sis.
Mm-hmm.
There's a line that, okay, you said above average intellect, terrified, below average wit. Mm-hmm. Dumb and dumber. I don't know if I should add this to that, if that's like one continuous part, but you say Dumb and Dumber knocks my block off for the last time.
Yes.
Then I realized I've got to get comfortable living in the skin I'm in.
Mm-hmm. Trying to fit in. Where you're hanging out with some people and their vocabulary isn't the same as yours, you got to constantly tell them what it is that you mean. Or you have
this is Afro. This is not nappy.
Yeah, exactly.
This is kinky and curly.
Yeah, and not actually saying that we're on different levels. We're all on the same playing field. But in order for me to fit in, I stopped being who I was and exploring my vocabulary or doing educational type things, because I was hanging out with people who were in the street who didn't understand the educational component. Or when I was going to school, people were teasing me because I had to take 2 buses to get to Cass Tech, and they were already home when I got home because their school was right around the corner. So, it was just
finding something to nitpick.
Exactly. Yeah. Just basically when you go to school here, you think you all that, and you think, no, I don't. I'm just going where I'm trying to get a good education. Why you mad?
Why is this even a thought for you?
Exactly.
It's like that it really shows people's insecurities. Like, oh, why she get to go to that school?
Yes.
Why she can't come over here with us? So now I'm gonna talk about how your bus came 30 minutes after I was home. Like, that's nothing to.
Yeah.
I got home 30 minutes before you. Who does that?
Yeah, exactly.
And I really get the Dumb and Dumber because it's really giving people's immaturity.
Yes. When we should be celebrating each other instead of tearing each other down.
Yes. And I want to get to a place where people can say, you know what, this is an insecurity of mine. Let me say it like it is and let me change it.
Yes.
Instead of projecting it on somebody else and making my problem somebody else's problem.
Own up to it.
Can we do that?
Yes. Own up to it.
Yes. So you say, I can only be me. I had to step outside of the box to live in color. Proud and loud. I love that line. I don't know. It kind of gave me living in color for some reason, but also just thinking about how, like, when I read it, I just saw like a crayon box, the colors, and then coloring outside the lines and just being free. You can't, like somebody said earlier, you cannot put me in a box.
Right, right. I was held within that darkness, trying to fit in and going where society told me to, where I wasn't living out loud in color. And then once I stepped out of that black box, I started thinking, ooh, purple. Wow, it's white. It's so bright. Look at that yellow, beautiful sun. It's like there was a whole different world out of that dark box.
Yes, because before it was looking a little dim.
Yes,
Okay.
very. You couldn't see nothing but darkness. Darkness is spreading.
Okay, get into your acting bag first. We love it. I'm going to jump down some lines. You said, blinded by a so-called flawless culture. I was so glad you put that in there.
Yes.
Yes, because, honey, culture will tell you a whole lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah. The so-called, the size 5s and 6s, and the fair skin, and the long hair, and the weave, and the perm, and the jewelry, and designer this and designer that. It's like, I just want to be me.
That part.
And we should all, not everybody handles themselves in a certain way. Don't shun somebody because they don't handle themselves as you would. They don't dress the way you would. They don't comb their hair the way you would. We're all different.
Learn to appreciate what everybody has to offer.
Everybody.
It is what it is.
Yes, yes. We are all perfectly imperfect.
People need to hear that more often. I think people can hear it and believe it for a second, but it's like until you actually digest it and believe it.
Yes.
And it's like you're going to be battling these different voices.
Absolutely.
And what this person say and that person say in society this and society that. Like, girl. Let it go.
Yeah.
What is it? Relax, relate, release.
Yes.
We'll side on that. You said, I met myself for the very first time. The first time.
Yes.
I'm not I love the throwing it. It really shows how much music means to you. Like I caught I personally caught like 3 references. I know there is probably more. I just before my time.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I even knew you said the song was from the 70s. So I was like surprised my father is from the 70s. So that may be why I know it. But I love the throwing in of. So is my number right? 3 songs, or is it more?
Yeah, it could be more. At the top, This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Actually, what's funny about reading her poem without her there to like say it to me, when I read this poem, there was times when I like broke out in song, just the songs I knew. I don't know every song in this poem, but like, you know, I sung that for a little second, and then I kind of knew the first time I saw, I sung that a little bit, and then you said, where we at?
The only time.
I don't think you're ready for this.
Yes. Had to throw some Bay up in there.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. I was like, get crowd with it. You know, we partying. So, yeah, I love that. You can tell that like music is like almost like home for you.
Yes, it is. It is. My family, my brothers, and I, we were like the undiscovered Jackson 5 because they all played musical instruments. My mom sang and wrote poetry. My dad played the guitar. One of my brothers is a guitarist. The other played piano. And one of my other brothers tried the drums, but then he settled on building houses.
Okay, so you have this part where you say physical attributes may permit descending gazes towards those threatened by altitude. I was like, bars. Let them know what you mean by that. Yes,
when I speak to that, being a tall woman, a plus size woman, stepping into a room over average height, and people they're looking up to you, but at the same time, although I'm looking down at them, we're all still on the same level.
Which leads to the part where you say, well, you know about her, go ahead and say it. You said the only time you should be looking down on the man
is when you're picking him up.
Yes. Yep. I love that. I vow to encourage my people. But yeah, you just hit something, because girl, I feel like a lot of men can feel intimidated by a tall woman. You can come to them smiling. You can say, I like your shoes. You know what I'm saying? You can have a compliment in every sentence, and they, still could be like intimidated by the height. Like, God, I can't help. I'm 5'11", and I'm statuesque.
Right. If I had $5 for every man who told me that I was intimidating,
I'm intimidating. I get, oh, you're tall. Like somebody, I'll like talk to somebody maybe on social media or something, and then like we possibly meet in person. It's like, it's like they gotta tell me every time they say you're tall. Oh yeah, because I forgot.
Right. I know how tall I am. You didn't.
Right. You can tell. It's not that anybody ever actually tells me they're intimidated, but I can hear it in the way they say it.
I've had men tell me that I was intimidated.
You were so tall.
Yeah, I'm intimidated by you because you this and you that and you tall and you got this and you got that. I was like, well, thank you for letting me know
that you are not for me.
Exactly. I'm good. Get comfortable in your skin, bro.
Period. And then maybe once you do that, maybe we can talk about it.
And don't tell no. Don't tell
you only say all that because you are attracted to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They attracted to you, sis.
Yeah.
And just feeling a little way.
Do not tell another woman that you're intimidated by them.
Yeah.
That's not a selling point, bro.
We're supposed to protect our women. How you gonna be intimidated by me? You feel like I'm supposed to protect myself?
Right.
You intimidated. True. There's a line where you say, overweight lovers are frequently shunned by jealous flatbacks who pay for butt shots and lip lifts.
Yes.
Girl, yes. I had a little kiki on that one.
They'll be sitting back talking about, oh, look at her, she got all that butt. Becky got a big old butt. But then you go out and get liposuction and get augmentation on Venus and Serena and get your butt lifts and Botox and all that, but you sitting back talking stuff. And they want to talk about our skin too and go out there and sit and tan for hours and get sunburn.
We got real specific. Someone said great confidence, ladies. We got to. I feel like all my tall ladies need to be standing up and holding our head up, because we up there. We can't hide. What are we gonna hide behind? Everybody else is a little shorter.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotta be confident up here.
And it shouldn't be a point of contention. I mean, just be comfortable. Your soulmate or might be somebody that's 5'4". I mean,
look at Kevin Hart.
Exactly.
That is a confident man.
Yes.
Yeah, he would proudly be with his wife who is taller than him.
Exactly.
And still would have her heels on. He don't be, I'm pretty sure he don't be like, you gonna wear them heels, baby? You really like, nah.
Yeah, some men like that.
Or they just like what they like, and they're not, bound by the whole height thing or made insecure by that.
Absolutely.
Kevin Hart, he's short. Someone said, have you ever written any spiritual or Christian poems?
Yes, I have. I write for everyone. I write along every vein from the boardroom to the bedroom for elementary school students.
She said from the streets to the sheets, honey.
Yeah, pretty much. So that my words will be able to travel and they'll be welcomed in any venue. So I don't restrict my language, and I'm obedient to my pen. Whatever it tells me to write, that's what I do.
Yeah, I was talking to recently who said the same thing, like making sure that you are like open to the different subjects, so that way if somebody likes your poem, they say, well, I have this event coming up. Do you even have something for that event? Or are you so stuck on, no, I only write about, breakups. Well, I wanted you to do a poem at my wedding.
Yeah.
You can't talk about breakups.
Exactly. You're going to stifle yourself. So as a creative, you want to have an arsenal of work so that your work can go anywhere. Yeah. And be able to serve anyone. Like when I first started writing, I wanted my words to just reach one person. And a young lady who was contemplating suicide read one of my blogs and said that my words changed her mind. So that just really pushed me. I'm like, well, if I don't reach anybody else, my goal was met. So then I just try to write for everyone and whatever situation dictates.
Yes. Azizi had just sent some love our way.
Zizi!
He's at his own show. We appreciate you. We appreciate the love. Thank you. Yeah. I'll do it too. Yes, thank you. I really like this part of your poem where you like, it's party time in celebration of life. Like, I feel like even if you didn't put the part, it's party time in celebration of life, and you say, so let's jam, the skin color is a blessing. Like, I already felt celebrated. Like, I was like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I smiled on that part. I just felt like, oh, we celebrating this skin, the caramel, the chocolate, it all. Like, I just love that moment you take to it really just shows like the climax that's building in this poem, and like really like, I almost feel like you found yourself prior to writing this poem, but I feel like you maybe found yourself a little more as you were writing it.
Absolutely. I sure did. You hit it right on the nail. You hit the nail on the head. I did. I started to love me a whole lot more after writing that piece. And every time I recite it, whenever anyone asks for it, I just put more and more and more into it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Speaking of, somebody just asked the first time. That is a very interesting poem. How many edits? Was it a process when it comes to editing maybe this poem or any other poem?
Yeah. It's always a process. Because even when you think you're done, you're not.
I told somebody in a previous episode, like when I write, I feel like I'm writing with God, and sometimes maybe something gets lost in translation. He'd be like, no, I meant this. Change that with this. Like, so you think you mean one thing, and then you read it back and be like, oh, I get what you, okay, so now I see why I have to change this. Like, yes. I ran off on a tangent, Lord, let me come on back.
Yeah. Sometimes I have an idea of what it is I want to write about, but the words don't come to me right away. So I just wait until I'm blessed with them.
Yes, because he will whisper to you at a...
Exactly. Yes. Yep.
Yes. Okay, so you have a part where you say, let the haters hate while naysayers negate. You control your fate.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then what I really like, I literally put a smiley face by it. You say, thank your old self for bringing you through. Be content with who you are. It's really the part where you say, thank your old self for bringing you through, because I feel like sometimes we be like, oh, the old me was a mess. But that old you had to get you somewhere.
Absolutely.
To get you where you are now. At some point there had to be a transition. Like, give that person recognition. Mm-hmm. Don't, because then if you don't, you're being the same person that everybody else was being when they tried to like you say, knock you off your block, put you in the box. Like, no, like that girl.
Yeah,
bars.
Absolutely. Because we used to be one person, and here we are now in the present, where the past is going to shape the present and the future, but you can't focus on the past. You just have to think about those lessons learned, and keep pushing.
And keep it moving.
Because
but don't cut that person down.
Exactly.
If you do that, I feel like you, in a way, are still cutting yourself down because that's still a part of you. I mean, yes, that's not you anymore, but it's still a part of your story.
Yeah, don't get stuck in it. Just move forward. Yeah. Don't keep beating yourself up for what you did. Just move forward.
That part.
Yeah. Learn from it and keep moving.
Yes. You say, strive for better to ensure you'll become someone you can tolerate the rest of your days. That right there is, I mean, can we get an amen?
Amen.
You have to wake up to yourself every day, right? You don't wake up to what everybody else said.
Exactly.
You wake up to you. You need to be content with who you are. Like, that right there, when you say open your eyes, look in the mirror, love on your reflection. Like, when I tell you this poem was I just cut my hair 2-3 months ago. And I mean, I cut it. Like, I've done the big chop before, but this time was different. It was like I was waking up every single day like, oh my God, I want to cut my hair. And I just I kept teeter-tottering, but I knew I wanted to do it. And I remember when my heart is starting to beat fast because I can literally feel that moment and see that moment. I looked in the mirror and I had already bought the scissors, those shears, and I'm just sitting there like, I'm about to do it. But then I started to second guess it. I had already brought my blow dryer. I'm like, what you need a blow dryer for? We have to cut this off. And so I'm looking. I'm like, okay, I'm about to do it. And so I pulled from the front. You know, when you pull from the back, you can play that off. You can hide it. I went straight for the front. Okay. And I went to cut it and I screamed. I was like, ah! Like a whole Home Alone moment. But after I cut it, I looked in the mirror. I said, we here now. Right. And I felt, actually, I almost didn't do it. And I remember I said to myself, I said, Lord, if I'm supposed to be doing this, let me know. Because if it's not for me, if I'm just having a moment, I'm going crazy, just tell me, I'll hear you out. And the song Common comes on, Let It Go. And right at it couldn't have been any other song. It could have been any other song that said, it could have been Cut It Off. Cut it. That could have came off, that came on that had moved me. Like, I literally, it was like a spiritual moment. I kid you not. I felt like a weight was lifted off of me when I cut my hair. Like, I was so happy. And I just cut it all off. It was quick. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm not even gonna lie, I stared at myself for a minute. And this poem, when you say, open your eyes, look in the mirror, love on your reflection, I literally saw that moment. I was so happy with it. I was literally just staring at myself for a minute. I was just like, oh my God, because the whole point of me cutting my hair, to be honest, was that I wanted to be sure that I love myself at my raw state. I don't ever want to be hiding behind a wig. I never want to be, my natural hair is very pretty. And I don't want to ever, people used to always say, oh, your hair is so pretty. It's so soft and this and that. And I wonder if I built false confidence off of my hair. Am I prettier because I have this texture or this curl pattern or this softness? It almost gave me a false reason to be proud. There's nothing I never want to put my worth into a part of me that can shed. You know, I never, so
the beauty comes from within and goes without.
Yeah, but I don't ever want to feel like I'm just it's surface level. I want my beauty to run deep. So I was like, okay, we're gonna cut it off. And I kid you not,
you felt free.
I felt so, and I'm literally just staring at my reflection oh my God, I feel so free and I love it. I literally stared at I've had wigs, had my makeup on point, and I've never stared at myself the way I did it for as long as I did the day I cut my hair. So that's when I say this was right on time, girl.
So that was a good freeing moment for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. This poem, that's going to stay in my little archives. I'm going to come back to it and read again. Right?
Write that down, Faye.
Write down what? What I say? We'll talk. Yes. The very last part of your poem, you say, so you say, open your eyes, look in the mirror, love on your reflection. If you can't do so, do you expect anyone else will? It's the question for me. You really got to sit there and it's not that you could have said, don't expect somebody else to, but you made it a question. I like that. Make me
to
think.
Yourself.
Yes,
exactly.
Make me think.
Exactly.
And then they're hearing their own, especially somebody who's reading it, they're hearing their own voice. For me, that was my experience. Y'all might not be your experience. Is this in your book?
I think it's in my second collection. Yes.
Okay. Because like for somebody to read that question and hear their voice saying it to themselves, like deep moment, first of all. But then you say, if you've never appreciated you, the next time you actually see yourself, I hope it's the actually for me. That's the key word.
Mm-hmm.
When you actually see yourself, I hope it will be the first time ever you saw your face. Girl, that was such a deep way to close it. But again, I have another story. I'm gonna keep it short. But when a few days after you sent your submission, and I never want to lie, but I almost feel like I had read your poem, and then I felt like I started like looking at myself or whatever, and I realized that I don't want to say this, but I just realized I've never been proud of my whole name. If you look at any of my social media, it's always my first name. You might get something with my middle name, but you never see my last name. I just never felt like I had a reason to like feel proud of it. Like, so I just didn't feel the need to carry it. I just felt like it was just, there and, but I don't want to lie on your poem, but I want to say it was after I read it. But I want to say Holy Spirit spoke to me, and I just felt this urge to just take a look at my name again. People always ask me, what does your name mean? Your name is so pretty. Your name this and your name. They're always talking about my first name. But something told me this time to look at my whole name. Girl, I kid you not. So I wrote down what I thought my name meant, right? I go to the dictionary, I look up, this is literally specifically what my name means. And I felt like Holy Spirit said, double check that. Okay. I said, oh, okay, something's wrong. I realized that when my dad named me my first name, so my name is Kiesance, it's K-I apostrophe, so it's a separation between key and essence. And so I always thought key as a noun, essence as a noun, but one day I asked him, somebody had asked me what my name meant, and I'm like, I really don't know. So I text my dad, and when he sent it to me, I realized the way he used key is an adjective. And adjectives, are what's the word I'm looking for?
The key to your essence.
To your noun. It describes the noun.
Okay.
So an adjective describes a noun. So it's not two nouns. So when I then wrote it down, the way my dad, put key in my name actually says the paramount and indispensable character victoriously walks through water and other high viscosity substances. And I was just like, whoa, I was so baffled. I'm like, what? My name? When I tell you, I felt so proud. I never felt so proud to have my name be what it is. I never felt so proud to have my last name. Like, the next day on Sunday, somebody asked me what my name was, and I was, my name. I had never, ever, when I tell you ever, been so proud to say my name. And so when you said, like, when you actually see yourself, it's like, dang, like all these times that I just only give my first name, or sometimes I'll only say Key. I was on the set of for a BET show, and this actress, one of the leads, she asked me what my name was, and I was like Key, because I've been thinking like, mess up my name, butcher it, you're not gonna hear it right. And she said, that's your real name? I don't even know what made her ask that. She said, that's your real name? I said, no, it's Kiesance. And she said, your name is beautiful. Don't ever sell yourself short.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, oh, you better give me something to think about.
Exactly. I mean, you're carrying your ancestors with your name.
That too.
My name is Rose Marie. I have my mom and my grandmom's middle names all clumped into one. And when my grandmother would hear me tell people my name is Rose, they'd be like, she was like, no, it's not. It's Rose Marie. If you don't want the Marie, I'm going to take it back. And I'm like, okay. You're right. It's Rose Marie, not Mary. Don't marry the IE. It's Rose Marie. So then I'm like, okay, you got a point. I'm carrying my ancestors, so I should be proud of them.
Yes.
I'm not just gonna be Rose. I'm gonna be Rose Marie.
Yes. We have one more question I want to give attention to. Someone said, how can we find some more of your material? That's more of a home run question, but we'll let it slide.
Okay. If you go to my website, onesinglerose.com, and poke around in the rose petals, you will find more of my work. Also on all socials as One Single Rose. Yes.
Okay, so we're at the home run. But I also
already.
Yeah, girl, it's 8.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yes, this has been a very good conversation, honestly. But also, let me just say, I love your name.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm glad
Kiesance.
Yes, thank you, Rose. I don't know, should I say Rose or Rosemary?
Each word.
So, can you let us know any upcoming shows? And I heard you say book earlier.
Mhm.
It sounded like you had a couple, more than one.
Yeah.
What, like, how can we find you on social media? Like, what do you got for us? How can we support your businesses?
You can find my music streaming as Queen Rose on all platforms. I pen spoken word over house music for Defected Records. You can go to my website, One Single Rose, and find links to my videos, my books. There's some music there you can check out. Or go to all of my socials and YouTube also and check out some of my videos. I do have a few screenings for my videos coming up. In December, we are doing a play called Trouble Don't Last, where we talk about a lot of different troubles and struggles that people go through and overcome. I have a few performances coming up this summer, but I usually keep my website and the calendar updated. So if you want to come out to something, check out onesinglerose.com.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Girl, thank you. So, yeah, that wraps up our show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was episode 4 with One Single Rose. Just one.
Just one.